NCAA officiating, especially particularly booth reviews.
Mm-hmm.
As an Arkansas fan, there was the targeting call in the Kansas game, which you guys went into depth about.
Ridiculous.
But during the basketball game against Mizzou, 45 seconds left, Devo gets a charge call. They send it to the booth. They said it was a blocking foul, but that the booth couldn't review it. They kicked Devo out of the game. The game was tied. Mizzou goes on to win the game. After the game, SEC said they messed up. As a fan and as a team, how do you come back from something that is easily controllable and cost Arkansas games?
No, Evan, first off, thanks for the call. The Constitution, one of the most important documents of our time. Yeah. Here's where I'm at. Y'all know, you know how I feel about officials, right? Them and politicians are the only people who don't get held accountable for their actions. They just put out a statement and everybody forgets it. It's unbelievable. And then they talk about, it's the hardest job ever. No, being a coal miner is the hardest job ever. Being a single mother that works three jobs is the hardest job ever. Not determining whether it's a block or a charge when I can go look at science and video reviews. The problem is this, in my opinion. I don't think there's enough transparency. That's why I want any sport that has a booth review. I don't want to hear Chris Collinsworth talk. I don't want to hear any of the announcers or Tony Romo talk. I want to hear what they're saying to each other. And if there's not a booth, if there's a situation like you saw in the Arkansas game, and it legitimately takes Devo's Arkansas's best player, wouldn't you agree, on offense at least? He's their best player, their best scorer. Him and Anthony Black?
Anthony Black.
Yeah. But when it comes down to it, in those clutch moments, Devo's the one with the ball. Like, it seems to me like Devo's the one that gets the run started. To me, somebody should either get fired or fined. Somebody should be fired for that, in my opinion. If I do a bad job, if I come on here and do a bad job, I'm going to get fired. If the person who works at the convenience store down the street goes in there and does a horrible job, even if it's just one time, a bad instance, they probably get fired. But it just seems like that politicians and referees and anybody associated with them, they never get fired. The only one who got fired was Tim Donaghy from the NBA because they were betting on games. Yep. That's the only way you can get fired from being an official. It's a joke. It's a joke. There's no accountability for them. It's one of the biggest jokes, and I'm with you 100%.
I think the particularly egregious part of the entire thing was that the booth said that they did not have the ability to review it.
Yeah.
It's not only that they got the call wrong, it's that they said they couldn't overturn it because it's not a reviewable play.
Yeah, and listen, we know in different sports there are plays you can review and there are plays that you cannot review. But what I don't understand is how do you mess up knowing what you can review or not? How do you mess that
Bingo.
up?
I don't think there should be such thing as a non-reviewable.
Well, we never get through a game. We never get through a game.
We have robots with cameras looking at it. We should be able to review it. I think when it comes to ref, they don't get held enough to the higher standard, right? They're too worried about gender equality refereeing or just being the quality of the job. It should be hard to be a referee, right, to get that job.
If I see another girl get a bad spot in the NFL, I'm gonna panic.
That should just be held at a higher standard. You can go back to football and you go back to basketball. They don't get held to the right standard. You should make good money because it should be hard to become a referee because you have to get it right. It's not that hard to be one but on the field, but it should be hard to become one just because to limit the
and that should be your job. Like,
yes.
These referees are also insurance salesmen.
Shouldn't be like that.
And have other jobs. No, this should be your job. All right, this should be 100% be your job. But if we're going to be able to review anything at any time, then it all needs to be expedited reviews, like we saw in the bowl games, which is fantastic. Let's do it in baseball, basketball, football, tiddlywinks, the thing where you rub two balloons together while eating a graham cracker. It doesn't matter. But Evan, we appreciate your call, my friend. Thank you. All right, hey, YouTube, we appreciate your support. Do us a favor. Go ahead, turn on that notification bell so you can hear our content, watch our content, listen to our content every time it drops, and subscribe. It helps the show grow. If you enjoy what you're hearing, we'd really, really appreciate it because remember, without you, there is no us.